Okay, boys and girls, if you want to know how to make this little cat bowl, I'm going to show you in the video. So it's a pinch pot to begin with, and then I've just shaped some little ears at the front and joined a tail on the back using a score and slip. Now you can also paint the face on later when it's dry. Okay, I've got my air dry clay and I've just got it fresh out of the packet, so it's pretty moist, it doesn't really need much water. I'm going to roll it into a ball. Smooth out those cracks. You can use a tiny amount of water. Just see how much water is on my thumb. It's just a little bit of moisture. It's not like sopping wet. Now, if your paper is really wet, it's going to tell you that you've got too much water going on. I'm going to press in and turn and pinch to make my pinch pot. Turn and pinch. Now you see I've only got one thumb on the inside. My hand is cupping the pot. As I'm turning, you might want to just keep on top of those cracks before they start growing. And try not to let it get too lumpy. Oops, probably shouldn't be wearing my ring. You don't want it too lumpy. Trying to get it as even thickness as possible. Okay, so there's my pot shape. Now if you want, you can just tap it so it sort of has a flatter bottom and it'll sit flat on the table. And then you could turn it into whatever shape you want. Now I'm going to turn it into, give it some little cat ears. So I'm going to just put one finger on the inside and then squeeze and give it some little pointy cat ears. Now if you go too thin, it'll break. So don't let it get too small, because when the clay's dry, it goes hard and it becomes very fragile and able to break. Okay, now later I'm going to paint my little cat face on, so I'm not going to actually add any detail with the clay of my cat face. I'm just going to paint it later. I want that texture be really smooth for when I want to paint it on later, so just adding a little bit of water, what's called a slip. Okay, and then you can also choose to put a little bit more on the back to give him a tail. If you want to give him a tail and you want to join it on so it's separate, get a reasonable sized bit. That tail's probably too big for a cat. I'm going to roll it so it's fairly smooth. Get rid of what I don't need. And I need to score and slip it to make sure that it attaches here. It won't attach if I just stick it on. Okay, when it dries out, that's just going to fall off. So what I need to do is called a score and slip. So I need to score it, which means like scratch it up, like a tally score. And I need to do that again with where I want it to join. Scratch it up and add a little bit of what's called slip. So a little bit of water, tiny bit of water, and this is just going to help the two things bind together. Put that on there, and then I'm going to use my fingernail to smooth that and make sure it's got a nice strong bind. You know it's going to be joined nice and strong when you can't see the crack between where it joins. See how you can see the crack there, but you can't see it here? That means it's going to be a nice strong join. So I'm going to do the same on this side. Smooth it so it's a nice strong join. I'm not pressing super hard because I don't want to collapse my whole cup. Just enough to shove that clay into the crack. Okay. Okay, and before you finish, you need to make sure that your name is in the bottom or on the piece of paper where you're leaving it. Okay, so you can get a toothpick and put your name in the bottom. I'm going to put my initials because it's quite small, and I'm the only one that's done it so far. Okay, and there's your little cat.